Hello, fellow acupuncturists. I'm Dr. Michael Corradino, the creator and president of the Neuropuncture Organization, and I'm proud to announce that we are an official training partner for FDA-approved electroacupuncture devices produced by Pantheon Research. And I'm going to give you a fantastic tutorial on the operational modes of the 12C. Okay, so let's get on with the tutorial for the Pantheon FDA-approved for electroacupuncture BWK 12C Milli Micro Pro. Okay, so 12C, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 channels in the front that correspond to the 6 channels in the back, each with a milli and micro outlet. So each channel can deliver milli and micro current, not to get confused with the clip test, which we'll talk about later. But we do have 2 for each channel, 6 channels, hence the term 12C. Now, with the 6 channels on top, we have 2 microprocessor calibrated frequency knobs right here. This is our timer and this is our mode switch. Now, something I want to go over that's very, very important, just like all the other Pantheon devices, there's a built-in safety mechanism that is just brilliant. And what that sounds like, and you have to be very aware of this, is this. Okay, well, that's pretty bright. So, when you hear that, that immediately should bring your attention to what room this device is in that's making that sound, because that means the machine has shut off and is no longer working. Why would that occur? For 3 reasons, okay? The first reason would be if someone accidentally left the machine with the intensity knobs turned on, maybe even all the way, and you didn't realize that, and you had your leads plugged in, and these were connected to needles, and then you set the parameters, and then you turn it on. Oh my gosh, that would have just elicited all that charge to the patient. That's not going to happen. The Pantheon has a safety mechanism so you will never shock your patients. So if that is ever, God forbid, turned on, that will immediately turn off. That light will also go off when the timer goes off, or that sound will go off, that alarm, when the timer goes off. So when you have finished setting your parameters on how much stimulation your patient needs, whether it be 20 minutes, 10 minutes, or 30 minutes, I usually keep it on 30. Again, when that timer is up, you're going to hear that. Go check the room. You know that that patient is finished with their session. Now, something to be mindful again, sometimes practitioners just in a haste will turn all the knobs off and they'll turn the timer down to 10. And if you don't realize that, because maybe you always keep it on 30, you set up your treatment, and then in 10 minutes when you're in another room, you're going to hear that again. And what is that? That's telling you that the machine turned off. Now you have to come back in the room, put the timer on the proper time, and then reset all the dials. So it's always important to make sure that all the parameters are set properly. So I usually keep this on 30. And now let's talk about the knobs, the mode knob. So we have 3 main modes here on the 12C, and that is continuous, discontinuous, and mixed. When we're on continuous, it'll be referred to this knob only. And whenever we set this on, remember, these are microprocessor calibrated, that is going to get elicited through all of these channels. So if this is on 2 hertz, and you can see the pulse light flashing at the 2 hertz, and sometimes with the camera, it's hard to see those lights flashing, but it's flashing. If I put it in channel 6 up there, that's going to be 2 hertz millicurrent. If I put it in channel 2 down there, that's microamps. That's going to be 2 hertz microamps or microcurrent. Okay? So whatever you set these parameters to, that's going to get sent out through here, and depending on where you put the knob will depend on what current you're going to be eliciting. Okay? So continuous is going to be for just that one knob, and when this light is on, it indicates that this is what it's referring to. When you put it on discontinuous or mixed, it's now going to jump back and forth to 100 between, or actually on 2 hertz. Then it's going to jump immediately to 100 hertz. This does not do a sweep like the new advanced 12C Pro, but this one will go from 2 directly to 100, which is fantastic. And the light will indicate which knob is being activated, and the pulse light will indicate the frequency. At 100, you could see it solid in the blinking. Sometimes you can see, sometimes you can't with the camera, but it's blinking at 2 hertz. So you could always kind of get another reference point with that pulse. Now, we have mixed, discontinuous, working both of those frequencies. The difference between them is that in mixed, we're going to go back and forth from 2 hertz directly to 100 hertz, back to 2 hertz, back to 100 hertz at the same time intervals. When it's discontinuous, it's going to break up 2 to 100 at different time intervals. Okay, so it's discontinuously stimulating the nervous system, which has its benefits. Okay, now, lastly, let's look at some great tests that we can perform with this device. So let's say the machine is not working for some reason. You're not sure why. It's not delivering a stimulation. So the first thing we can look at is obviously, is the battery dead? We got to check the battery. How do we check the battery? We just click this 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that goes the battery test, and we're going to look for the diagnostic light, and it's on. That tells us that the battery is working and that it is fine to perform the functions. Remember that when the device cannot perform, when the battery cannot perform what these variables are asking it to perform, you're going to hear that, which means the battery has to be changed in order to perform those variables. Okay, unless otherwise, it should be green, okay? And that indicates the battery is working. All right, what else can we test? Well, we can actually also test the outlets or the outputs. We could see to make sure all the channels are working properly. Let's say maybe over time you noticed that in the past week, channel 3 every patient was not feeling stimulation on the millicurrent on channel 3. Well, then you want to test that. And what we could do is we could put the lead into channel 3. And then what we're going to do right up here where it says output test, we're going to connect the lead. And that's going to deliver the same charge that's coming from this channel we're testing to the actual test clips. So we're going to put this on. Then what do you think we're going to do? We're going to actually open the channel that we're testing. And we're going to see if the light flashes with the pulse. And we turn that on, and there we have the light. And I'm sorry, it is tricky, but both lights are flashing. And I think it's just because of the camera. You can't see them, but they're both flashing at the same time. Let me see if I could maybe do that again like this. Let's see if this is go like this. You know, we'll put it to 100, and then you'll see it. See, it's flash solid. Now, watch out, channel 3. Now, this should turn solid. Oh, there it goes. See? Perfect. So that shows, and it's because it's 100, right? That 100 hertz is a bright light. You could easily identify it. So it's just showing that it's diagnostically accurate, and it's healthy, and that channel's working. So we could check the channels, all the channels. We could check the battery, and like in the beginning, not to get confused with channel 1, we have the clip test. Right? So sometimes, you know, practitioners, rookie mistakes, it happens to all of us. You know, maybe in a quick rush, I'll throw the lead in there thinking I just put it in channel 1. And what will happen is I'll turn this on and I'm like, why aren't they feeling it? Why aren't they feeling it, right? So let's say this is on, and let's say it's 100 hertz. So they should feel this. And I turn, it's millicurrent. Why aren't they feeling it? Why? It's on 6. They should be feeling it. Not to get surprised. It's in the clip test. There's nothing coming out of that. So before you do re-plug this in, make sure you turn the machine off, because there's no safety mechanisms that's going to prevent the charge from coming out of there. Okay. And that, I think, does it for a short little tutorial on the main operations of the Pantheon FDA-approved BWK approved for electro-acupuncture 12c Pro with micro and millicurrent, continuous, discontinuous, and mixed with all the tests. Hope you enjoyed that. Check the Clinical Pearls for some further content, and continue to train with neuropuncture to learn groundbreaking treatment prescriptions that'll change your practice.